All right, everyone, we are live. Welcome to the Hard Camera. I'm joined tonight with members of my family, my brothers, and my father. We've got Dominic, we've got Adrian, and we've got the patriarch, Jimmy Rhodes. And we're going to be commenting week to week on each episode of SmackDown and Raw, giving you some recaps, and of course, giving you our opinion. And we're going to give our unsolicited opinion because we do not care what you think. We want you to care what we think. And so,
Yeah.
just to give you some quick recaps, over on SmackDown last week, Stephanie Vaquer defeated Alba Fire. There was a Fatal Four tag match where Andrade and Rey Fenix came out on top to become the number one contenders. Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes had a match, ended in DQ. We'll talk about that. Aleister Black, of course, was involved. We had the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. We had an entire episode-long segment featuring Jacob Fatu. And then finally, Charlotte Flair defeats Raquel Rodriguez. And, of course, there was interference all over that. Over on Raw, we had started out with a confrontation between Gunther and CM Punk. Had a match between Sheamus and Rusev, with Sheamus coming out the victor. Karrion Kross defeating Sami Zayn. The LWO got a victory. I don't know if I can remember a time in history where the LWO won a match. So there's that. Lyra Valkyria was forced to team up with Bayley against Rodriguez and Perez. Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky had a great match. And then at the end, to top it all off, Roman Reigns comes back, the tribal chief, and he confronts Paul Heyman and his faction. And so we're going to dive into all the details there. Everybody's going to give an opinion. But unfortunately, we have to start this episode by mentioning and tributing one of the greatest of all time, the immortal Hulk Hogan. We were all startled with news today of his passing, and it would not do this show or podcast any justice if we failed to recognize what he has brought to the sport of professional wrestling. I will tell you, there's mixed emotions all over the internet. We've posted a tribute video on our Facebook page, but right now I think all of us deeply respect the Hulkster and all that he's done for the sport, and we are deeply wounded by his passing. Guys, is there anything y'all want to add to the memory of Hulk Hogan? Maybe a favorite match or favorite moment that you'd like to bring into this before we kick the show off proper?
Yeah, sure. One of the many things about Hulk Hogan is how iconic he really is for the sport. People my age who never got the privilege to sit down and watch him live in the moment when it happened still are impacted from what he did many years ago. Whether it's WrestleMania 3 when he's the first person to ever pick up Andre the Giant off his feet, or whether it's doing the becoming one of the greatest heel turns of all time to join NWO. Whatever it may be, Hulkamania lives forever and ever, even with him passing today. And so that's what I have to say about all of it.
I'll never forget watching Rocky 3 at the movies, and I was on my feet standing for Rocky to just get this arrogant dude, man. You know, and from there he just became wrestling. He was part of our culture and part of how we grew up. I hate to admit it, but I've been crying all day, off and on, every time something comes on about him, and all the memories, because he was part of me growing up, and gonna sure miss him.
I didn't really get to experience him really much, obviously, because I'm 13. But I still know him, and I'm pretty sure everybody does. And he's definitely, like everybody else said, had an impact, even though people hate him for some reason. But
Well, I think feelings in regards to Hulk Hogan are maybe justified on both ends. But,
Yeah.
you know, respectfully, we got to give the man credit for what he did and, you know, what he didn't do. And I definitely wanted to begin our podcast this evening with talking about him, making sure that we're giving the respect and the nod where it's due. And it is definitely due there.
Yeah, I mean, we tell the truth here, right? And we talk about the hard things. And the last time we saw him on the pay-per-view come out and do a promo, they booed him out of the building. And
Yeah.
I'm really wondering when that's all going to come into play in all the reporting, because it is an interesting thing that happened, but I do think Great American Beer is going to sell out this week, so there's that.
It very well could. It very well could. And I posted on we posted on the Facebook page, and we said, Hulk Hogan spent 2 years being the biggest heel the industry's ever seen at that time. We had a period of time where every time Hulk Hogan came out, they were throwing trash and stuff in the ring, and just part of the sport we've never experienced except at that time, and probably never will experience again. But then, 2 years after the formation of the NWO, Hulk Hogan comes back out, and in the video we posted, he teams with Goldberg and Sting. And it's the first time since NWO that he wore the red and yellow. And it's like everybody just forgot about all of that, and they were cheering him. It was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard on watching WCW Monday Nitro. And one of the things I asked in that post, I was like, well, if the wrestling universe can forgive Hulk Hogan for what he did with the NWO, will they ever be able to forgive Shawn Michaels in Canada? And, who knows? All right, well, let's break it down. One of the things I want to cover, and I want to get some opinions on first, is our boy Solo Sikoa. And I want to say that, I hated Solo. The entire 4 years he was part of the Bloodline, I thought he was probably one of the worst personalities on TV. But over the last couple of weeks, I find myself really respecting the personality work that Solo Sikoa is doing. I've been posting and saying I like the new Solo. Guys, give me your feedback on, Solo's creative direction, what all's going on there, and what your opinion is of the new Solo. Dominic, we'll start with you.
Actually, I'm kind of the opposite of you, Jordan. I've always loved Solo because I watched Solo when he was in NXT, before he joined the Bloodline. And Solo, I've always known that what we're watching right now of Solo was always there because he did it every week, every night, all the time in NXT. Showed out and put many people in their place with killer promos and great comical acts and everything that you're seeing right now. And
I think that Solo's really good at getting other wrestlers over with his promos. He's just making real headway with Jacob Fatu, getting him over, and some of the things he's doing and saying. So there's that aspect to it as well, guys.
Yeah, he's creative. One of the things that I'll probably overlay this video with is his interview where he said he was doing the Jey Uso one line where he was like, 4 letters, 1 word, stop. I was like, that's so funny to me. I like that he's able to be himself. On the flip side, though, we've got Solo back in another situation where it's like Bloodline now 3.0. And I think that is just overdone. I feel like that's bringing him back. I don't feel like there's any really creative elaboration that can be done on the other guys that are with him right now, even though they are pretty good talent. But I feel like he's kind of stuck, and I don't know how y'all feel about that. But
well, I don't know. I wouldn't consider it stuck. The one thing I would use, the word I'd probably use is repetitive. He might be stuck in the same cycle of doing the same storyline. Like we could possibly we'll see as soon as he's done dealing with Jacob, one of those guys from 3.0 coming off, doing their own solo thing, and then him dealing with it again. Or it could just be very well being him being booted out the group and then dealing with the same kind of narrative. So the word I would like to use for it is probably repetitive. But in an amazing way that Triple H keeps doing it over and over again, they somehow make it fresh every time, even though it's the same narrative.
All right, Adrian, you got anything on that?
Yeah, I think, especially with the steel cage match, he's gonna. I think he's gonna retain. A lot of people think he's walking out with it, but I think he's gonna retain. I just don't see. I don't know how, because I feel like Jimmy is just gonna turn.
Who?
Jimmy. I think Jimmy's gonna turn, but he's not gonna go after. He's gonna go after Solo. He's gonna go after Jacob Fatu. He wants the title because everybody around him has got gold and everything. And he
Well, you're uncannily correct most of the time in your predictions, but I hate that. I hope that does not happen.
I do not want Jimmy to turn at all. I think if anything, the opportunity of everyone in his family getting gold this year is a good way to build up that underdog feel within him and make everyone want him to earn that gold. So it's just about the long haul of things. Because eventually it will be rewarded. He'll lift up the United States title at some point, or the IC if he gets drafted, if they do a draft this year. But you never know. So I don't know about the Jimmy turn. I can see Solo retaining, but I can also see Jacob retaining. I can't really make a pick on that one yet.
All right.
I don't want to retain for Jacob, but yeah.
Well, we got some time to really flesh some of these storylines out between the next PLE. Speaking of, you're going to be there in person, aren't you?
Yes. We're super excited. Cool. Both nights.
It's pretty cool. All right, let's move on. And I'm really excited about this next point. Let's talk about Karrion Kross. Listen, let me tell you how I feel about this. Karrion Kross beat Sami Zayn, and it should have happened at the PLE. All this build-up, all the personality, all Karrion's doing right now, selling out merchandise. He goes to the PLE and he loses, and I thought that was the biggest mistake. So now we get a match. We get the rematch, Karrion and Sami. Of course, Sami's injured. I don't know. I think Sami's one of the most overrated superstars on the roster right now. He doesn't need to be injured so that Karrion can beat him. Karrion should beat him outright. But Karrion Kross comes in. They have this rematch, and I feel like it's a correction by WWE. They're finally giving Karrion the win here. And, of course, I feel like it's tainted by Sami's injury. But he does win. He walks away with the victory. And listen, I don't care what anyone says. The fact that he was bleeding from his nose at the end and that Scarlett kisses the man anyway makes the spectacle out of it. It's real. It's gritty. That's why we love Karrion. He makes anything and everything work to his advantage. They have this great little aftermatch promo, soaked in blood. They love each other. I think Scarlett may be one of the best managers in the business right now. And Karrion gets the win. But then after the match, he's like, I'm not done with Sami. There's more that I need from Sami. And I'm like, okay, I really love the fact that Karrion gets the win. I like that he's on TV. I like that he got a PLE spot. But, man, we cannot do anything with Karrion Kross right now that is going to bury his momentum. He needs to win. He needs to win big. He needs to continue being on the camera spot. And he needs to be a big, larger-than-life personality right now in order to keep this going. I want your takes on this. I want your feedback. And tell the viewers what you think about Karrion now that I've kind of shared my opinion.
I think that, like many other people in the IWC and people who also watch wrestling live from the stadium can openly admit, we're in an era where TKO has a lot of pull. We could almost say we're in the TKO era. And with Karrion Kross selling as much as he is, to the point that his merch is actually outselling John Cena in the month of June. Only person ahead of him in sales is Jay, but that's not a surprise. But with that being said, TKO is very money hungry. So I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, I see him going up from here. I think Sami's just the beginning. Where do I see him going after Sami? I don't know, but I definitely see it being something really good.
Yeah, we had a really good booking with them in the beginning, and I thought it was perfect. You had Karrion's faction, and they came head to head with the Six, and we know that kind of got derailed by We know that got derailed by an Uncle Howdy injury, and we'll cover the Wyatt Sicks a little bit later. But let's I want to ask Adrian this because he's pretty good about predictions. After Sami Zayn, who makes sense as the next feud for Karrion Kross that's going to keep bringing him up the next level? I know you want to say Joe Hendry.
I'll bounce off of him when he's done.
I want to, but I don't think Joe Hendry's coming to the main roster for a long time.
I think it's going to be sooner than you think. I think he'll be drafted.
Oh, the draft? I think they said the draft after SummerSlam.
He gave up the title to Trick, and now he's titleless, and he's been quiet. I think he's going to be one of the picks in the draft. Definitely.
I would be very shocked if he is, but also very pleasantly shocked.
Yeah, I think he's SmackDown talent, ready to go. But anyways,
if you want to hear my input on who I think is next for him, for Karrion Kross, I would go is I would honestly say, if you can hear me out on this one, I could see it possibly being Breaker. Because of the fact that Breaker doesn't like the fact that he got in the way of Sammy. Remember backstage with Seth. Now, the only thing that makes me kind of iffy about that is Seth keeps telling him not to worry about it. So they could very well also pull it off because of that, to pull it off as a momentum string to eventually pull that string of Seth and Breaker breaking up, which is obviously, as we all know, is inevitable. So
if Seth is out for a prolonged period of time, and there's speculation on whether that's real or not, how would we feel if Karrion took over that faction?
Dude, I would absolutely love it.
Karrion and Heyman. I don't know, bro. I don't.
So here's something I would like to say. I'll say it as short as I can. I think in that Jay and Roman and Breaker and Bronson Reed fight, I would like to see Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn either have a match at SummerSlam or either this Monday and Sami lose again, because then at SummerSlam, I would like to see like a backstage segment where Heyman is on the phone with Seth. It'll be obviously on the phone with Seth. And then he says everything's set and ready to go. And he sends the boys out there to go. Jay and Roman are fighting. They're this close to getting the win. Sami turns on his boys and Karrion Kross is in the background with Heyman smiling about it.
That would be cool. That would be kind of how you introduce him to that. He has, and he even like at one point in time, I thought we were going to get a really good feud with him and AJ. But looks like AJ's moved on to Dominic. So, but I mean, that was still kind of cool build up there. Dad, what's your thoughts on Karrion Kross?
I say at some point during SummerSlam, he's going to come out and he's going to introduce Sami Zayn, and then Sami Zayn's going to come out with a haircut and everything, dressed up, and he's joined Karrion Kross. It's going to be like he's almost brainwashed him somehow, and then they're going to start a faction, go after somebody else.
It would be kind of cool.
If he could convince Sami, I see it as a segue to the main event scene. If he could some way convince Sami to turn on Jay.
Yes.
Because when Roman, it would be awesome. When Roman leaves again, Roman will leave after pay-per-views, especially if Seth is injured. What's Jay going to do at that point? And if he can get into a feud with Sami where Karrion's pulling the strings, that opens up a lot of doors. That's
a lot of doors.
Or Jimmy's out in the cold. He would be a good one to add to the faction. And him and Sami are like pretty good buds. So
yeah, but I think you have that thing going on right now with Jimmy and Fatu. I really think that's gonna be a few months
where
at
Jimmy
least.
Stays. I think they're really hyper focused on keeping Jimmy and Jay kind of separated.
But they've integrated them still from time to time. I don't know. Yeah. But that's a good point. Jimmy will eventually do something with Jay.
Right, eventually.
But yeah.
But can I go back to your question with who I think Kross' next victim is?
Yeah.
Since it can't be Joe, because I just don't think that's what they'll do. I think the perfect thing to do to get him out of like the pretty much not even like mid card, he's just gone. Dragon Lee. They can make him turn on LWO, and he can use like the fact that Ray has been putting over Ray Phoenix and Penta over him, and like I think it would be perfect for him to turn on LWO and Rey Mysterio.
If they don't pull the strings on everything that we're saying with the Sami and the Heyman and the Breaker stuff, and they keep him in the same level on what he's dealing with right now, I could see that. But I don't know. I could see him. Like I said, if the merch sales keep staying where they are, which they are, even with the OTC stuff being as big as it is right now, his merch is still up there within the top 10 of stuff. And so with that, TKO is obsessed with some money. And like I promise you, we're probably about 3 years away from the Dairy Queen of the ring and Burger King of the ring. Like
that's a podcast highlight right there. Good way to say that. All right. Well, we mentioned too the Wyatt Sicks, and Man, I love the Wyatt Sicks. I love the angle. I think that everything they did when they came out was pure cinema. With
Yes.
taking over and targeting the people who had betrayed people. I thought that was so cool. But now over on SmackDown, you've got a tag team division that it just looks like it is completely unorganized. We have no idea what to do with them. And to give it any clout, you've got what's left of the Wyatt Six aura that's been injected into this. You've got the teams all together now trying to figure out how they're going to take out the Wyatt Six. I think there is still room to make the Wyatt Six big again, and there's room to make them indomitable. I mean, scary. But right now, there's issues, and let me tell you what I think those issues are. The number one contender ship for the tag team titles on SmackDown was won by Andrade and Phoenix. And they're a tag team, and they're going to go up against the Wyatt Six. Now, here's the thing. I think Andrade went from being super aura a couple years ago to a jobber. He's got no aura right now. You give him a win, you give him a little boost, but even if it is in the tag team division, you give him the number one contendership. You get him coming in as this level head, like, hey, I'm here professionally to tell you guys in the tag team division what's going on here, what's happening. But then you're going to put him up against the Wyatt Six. And to me, it's a lose-lose situation. Andrade loses, it hurts him. You can't have the Wyatt Six lose because we need them to get back to the top, right? We need them up there. Yeah. And so here we are presented with this situation where obviously maybe there's a DQ finish that makes sense. But, I mean, how do we work this out, guys? Jimmy, let's start with you. When it comes to the tag team division and you got the Wyatt Six at the center, you got an Andrade push, which he deserves. What outcomes could you possibly put into play here that works for the superstars and works for storytelling?
Well, I want to start off by saying the Wyatt Six. I'm going to be interested to see if any member of the Wyatt Six can help defend the belts, kind of like the Freebirds did back in the day. I'm kind of expecting them to make a rule where any of the Wyatt Six can compete to defend the titles. I think it would be great.
Didn't they do that with the New Day? Couldn't all three members of the New Day defend the tag team?
The New Day did do that for a little while.
I've seen the things they did. But,
yes, they did. They did whenever Vince McMahon was still doing stuff. Oop, I probably shouldn't have mentioned his name.
But
CM Punk did.
WWE eventually.
I think as far as Andrade, this is the end of his little push. They might do some more with him. I don't know. Something may transpire to keep him rolling somehow. And like you said, it may be a disqualification or something like that. But it's my thing about this tag team division right now is I'm a Motor City Machine Guns homie kind of, and I think they're wasting them because they got moves better than any that DIY can do, or almost any of the teams except maybe Andrade and or Axiom. So yeah, the tag team title, the tag team thing is a mess, and we need to try to figure it out somehow. But a great Wyatt Six run and picking up another title here and there, I think it'd be great for business, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when it finally happens.
Part of me wants to believe that if they do a draft, which there is supposed to be one, that they would send some of these guys from SmackDown to Raw because the memorial that the New Day did for the tag team division should have been done 2 years ago when the Raw tag team division died then. But in all honesty, with that being said, I fully have 100% belief that this match is going to end in a DQ. It's going to be interfered most likely by DIY. And then here comes Street Profits. And then here comes the rest of Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan and them. And then here comes Motor City and Fraxium setting up what deserved to be at WrestleMania, but they didn't do it. Will most likely be a 6-tag match at SummerSlam, most likely hanging the belts up. I do see the Wyatts retaining there too. It'll be a big moment to make them look really cool, show off their skill set, show off their dominance, have interferences and all kinds of stuff like that. Make them become this really big heel, and then go from there. Probably send like DIY Street Profit over to Raw, and that's kind of what I can see happening.
And then in the middle of the pay-per-view match, to settle the score once and for all, we get the final return of the Hardy Boys.
Hey, man,
I thought
look,
you were gonna
they
say
somehow, I would
Hopefully,
love to believe that, but somehow their old selves still managed to win a tag gold and TNA ladder match. So,
that'd
and
make
now
it
they're
better.
fighting the Dudley. Now they're fighting the Dudley Boys at Bound for Glory, which is in October. And yeah, so
more
Everybody
likely
thought
to
they were
see
coming
their.
back.
We're more likely to see the return of Pretty Deadly.
I hope. I hope.
hey, that would be hilarious. They're probably going to send them to the Asian's probably going to have to get kicked out of the podcast for that one. Pretty Deadly does not deserve to be anywhere,
Bro,
let
Pretty
alone on
Deadly
TV.
were doing so good. They were doing so good. I don't even care what anybody says.
Wait. They could you could hit the Hardy Boys music and them come out dressed like the Hardy Boys. That'd be freaking hilarious.
They need to do more of that. That was so when they used to do that. Remember when Randy Orton and Edge came out dressed up like Shawn Michaels and Triple H? I think that's the last time we've seen that, and that was so funny. Well, okay. Let's segue. We got Andrade, Wyatt Sicks in the conversation, but let's also talk about this. Andrade had a pretty good feud with Carmelo Hayes. I mean, at the time, I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was good. It was a way to elevate Carmelo. Andrade had some great matches with him. Yes, but you look at the aftermath of that, and you take an aspiring superstar, you take one that's got respect, and now both of them, the last big feud they had was with each other. They're both at the bottom of the barrel now. And so that's got to be considered when we talk about our next guy. I thought Carmelo, of course, had all the potential in the world, still do. But after a feud like that, which I thought, again, was good on paper, you now have Carmelo feuding with Damian Priest.
Yes.
And Damian Priest, I think, might be in my top 5 of superstars on the roster right now. Totally underrated. Did great things when he was the champion that no one expected him to do on Raw. And now you've got a feud with him and Carmelo, and you think, okay, can a guy like Damian Priest elevate Carmelo? Or is Carmelo going to just continue to bring both of them down? This will be in a feud that I think we're subjected to over the next several weeks. Want to know what you guys think about that. Damian Priest, Carmelo.
I think that Damian will definitely 100% elevate Carmelo. Damian has that ability to really can do that. I mean, think if you could think back on like what he was able to do for JD and the Judgment Day when Reverse joined and stuff. So I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that is very capable of it. I don't think if Carmelo doesn't come out of this feud looking like $1 million and upper level, I would have to almost blame it on the booking more than I would Damian. And that's just about how I feel about that.
Adrian, what's your thoughts?
I think it's good for Carmelo, but I don't think it's bad for Damian either. Because like Carmelo was doing the story with the Miz and the tag team and everything. It was really good after the Battle Royale, but Miz left. I don't know why, but Miz left. I think he's injured, but I'm not sure.
Well, let's talk about Carmelo, and I want to hear your thoughts. You know, Carmelo, when he first came, he was I am him, big energy, big draft energy. You know, he was drafted over Trick and, all this other kind of stuff. But I watch him when he comes out now, and I feel like because of crowd response and him just kind of not having the aura, he's not as confident and conceited as he was when he comes out. So how do we get Carmelo back to the energy that sold Carmelo to the main roster in the first place? I mean, and put that into play. You've got Priest going up against him right now.
I think he just straight up beats Damian, and then you got Aleister Black who's also involved in it. I think you could see something really good happen for Carmelo in this situation. If you let him, like, let's say you put them in a triple threat match and he gets a clean, solid, dominant win over Aleister Black and Damian, that's a boost. That's a big boost, actually.
What if we get an unlikely pairing of Carmelo and Priest as the only way to beat Aleister? Because Aleister hasn't had good aura either since he came back. It hasn't been as impressive as, say, Penta or Phoenix.
That's true.
What do you do if you maybe make Aleister the looming figure and all of a sudden Damian and Carmelo have to form an unlikely alliance? What does that look like, and who maybe partners with Alistair as a result? Would love your thoughts.
I would love to see, even though it probably wouldn't make sense to people, it'd be cool. It's something WWE's done plenty of times. The pairing that I would give Alistair Black would be none other than Ron the Truth Killings.
Yeah.
That's the duo I would like to see. You put Alistair with his dark gimmick of it's not as easy as evil and good, and then you got R-Truth with his basically two separate personalities of what he is now, and you put them two together and they can start playing mind games and doing the things they know how to do now. You can really get a nasty duo out of both of them.
And it would make sense because Ron Killings is still sort of upset at the way Priest treated him when he was trying to be in the Judgment Day.
Exactly. You can totally pull that string. That doesn't really have to become, one thing that's it totally can go full circle on it, especially since you don't really have too much for Ron right now.
Jimmy, I see the wheels turning. What you got?
I hate to be the buzzkill, but did y'all watch that match between
which one?
Damian Priest and Carmelo Anthony? He had to almost throw himself down to sell Carmelo's moves. It was unbelievable. I hated that match. I really hope this doesn't go anywhere, to tell you the truth. But I would like to see Alistair and Ron Killings. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we got a dream set up here with Alistair and Ron, and I like it. I like it a lot. Adrian, you have anything else? Close out your thoughts, or you want to move on?
Just one quick thing. I hate Alistair, honestly.
I'm not a fan. The fact that somebody like that, somebody like that bags Zelina Vega, that's unfortunate because Zelina Vega is every bit of spicy. Okay, I mean she's spicier than any pepper that comes from her hometown. All right, her home country.
So do you guys not like him, or are you jealous of him? No, I'm playing.
Definitely jealous. Definitely jealous. Definitely. I mean we're just gonna go with that. Oh man. Okay, we got a few more things here. Listen, one of the best pay-per-views I've watched in my entire life was Evolution.
Yes.
Women's Evolution a couple weeks back was awesome in every way. And if Rhea and Io don't get credited for having a 6-star match, regardless of the ending, I'm going to be one upset WWE fan because it was awesome from head to toe.
Yes,
but
110%.
That being said, after a pay-per-view like that, I feel like the women's division as a whole is sort of a mess, sort of like the tag team division on SmackDown. Everybody's kind of all over the place. But what is emerging from the women's division that I absolutely want to keep my thumb on, and I am so interested in, is Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Now, I can't stand Becky Lynch. I think I'm so over it. I'm over Bayley. I'm over. I don't think Bayley. Get her off. Okay, give her some time to break. Give her something creative. She's not good on the mic. I like what she. I mean, I appreciate what she's done since she's been with the main roster at WWE. But for some reason, when you put all these together, I'm very interested in it, and I honestly feel like there's more attention being paid right now to the Lyra Valkyria situation in the women's division than there is any of the main championships. I don't like anything going on with Naomi. We can talk about that if you want to, but I can't stand anything. Naomi is the queen of botch. She botches every match. She botches promos. Jade Cargill, she botches a lot, but she's getting better. You got Bianca Belair, who I think is super talented, who's been weighed down by those two for a while. But irregardless of all that, Lyra Valkyria has stolen my heart. She's doing great in-ring work. She's getting better on the mic every single week. And the fact that she has elevated this feud to above what anything Tiffany Stratton's doing and anything Naomi's doing, let's talk about it. Does Lyra deserve the cred? And is Lyra going to be the next anchor in WWE? I mean, tell me your thoughts.
100% she's going to be the next anchor. I mean, come on, man. They have her feuding with two of what was said by Vince McMahon of the four horsewomen of the women's division, like in the history of it.
It wasn't Vince McMahon that said it. It was Sports Illustrated that said it. Remember that?
That's true. That is true. But they don't say it.
Yeah,
that's true. But I mean, and they still make it very clear to this day that both of them are the 4 horsewomen or part of that, and they make it a big deal that Lyra's dealing with it. They are elevating her and the IC title, and so yes, 100%. That's the Lyra is whether you could get along with it or not, you better just get in where you can fit in because she's the next big thing, like for sure.
Does this end with Lyra being champion again?
What the
Yeah.
IC?
Yeah.
100%. SummerSlam, she wins it. Because come on, man, SummerSlam, it's a no rules match, and it's also with the stipulation of if Lyra loses, she's not allowed to go back after her ever again. So, but then again, you also run the course of maybe Bayley playing mind games and actually full blown going heel and costing Lyra that match so that Bayley can have full undivided attention towards it and go after it herself. And then you run back Bayley and just Bayley and Lyra just 1-on-1. But I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna pull that trigger. Honestly, I don't. I'm just saying.
I have it in my notes
on the table.
I have it in my notes that Bayley kind of feels like the third wheel in this.
Yeah.
And
she does.
the Becky and Lyra feud doesn't feel like it's being overextended. Of course, you had the issues with Bayley and Becky, and Bayley deserves some retribution, some revenge. But Lyra's in the middle of this, and I just can't. I just feel like Bayley's bringing the whole thing down. In my opinion, that's kind of how I feel.
I mean, you're not necessarily wrong there.
What you got, Jimmy?
Yeah, I agree. Bayley, I don't like Bayley. I don't love Becky Lynch either. I like her a little better now that she's heel. She makes a better heel than she did a face.
100%.
Does she sound like Donald Trump to you when she talks?
That's the whole point, dude. She's playing the politicianal heel, and you see her wearing the Hulk Hogan colors because everyone's always called her Becky Hogan. I don't know if y'all picked up on that, but she has been doing that.
I'm not saying it. Sports Illustrated said it, and everybody else said it. It was good. It was really good. I just can't. I draw the lines. I'm like, oh my God, you're Donald Trump.
I agree with what you said about Lyra. I don't really like her that much. I wish she'd get rid of the feathers. I think that they're really distracting. Other than that,
woo! They're awesome.
She's getting great on the mic, though. You got to give her that.
Yeah, she is. She still kind of sounds a little whiny to me, but if that's her gimmick, that's her gimmick. I appreciate it. Adrian, you've been kind of quiet. What's your thoughts on Lyra?
I hate her, honestly, but I do think he deserves her flowers on this story because she's been doing good. And she's probably gonna rock out of SummerSlam with it.
Let's take 1 minute before we move over to the Raw Women's Division. I think WWE would be doing a true disservice to themselves if Sol Ruca was not drafted.
I hear that. I agree, but I don't know. They could very well do it. I don't know. They got her title all decked out with her own personal design on it stuff. That normally means they plan on letting her hold on to it for even more longer than what she already has. So I mean, you don't. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying.
But Lyra wasn't Lyra a champion when she was drafted? Didn't they vacate her belt?
I
may have to check on that, but I'm pretty sure she was.
She could very well have been.
Okay. Two women that I believe deserve some elevation, and then we'll get on to the big names on Raw. But I'm ready. I'm beyond ready. I think the wrestling world is as well. Piper Niven deserves a push. And listen, if in the next year we don't get a Maxine Dupree push, I am going to be the most disappointed wrestling fan in the world. Oh my gosh. You've been teasing for months that she's training with Natalya. She gets in the ring finally. She has about 2 minutes of highlights, and then she's eliminated. When are we going to get a Maxine Dupree push? Let's talk about it for just a second, and then we'll move on to Raw.
Maxine Dupree definitely deserves the push. I'm on your side with Maxine. Piper, I'm not against it. I'm just not for it as much as I am with Maxine. Maxine definitely deserves it, especially if anyone remembers her performance in this year's Royal Rumble with Ivy that she was doing for a minute there. She was destroying Ivy Nile and was really doing really good. Got at least 2 eliminations before she got eliminated. So, I mean, yeah, you can definitely talk about how Maxine is definitely worthy of a pretty significant push. So I'm definitely on board with that one. It does need to happen for sure.
Maxine deserves it. But
And I'll
I
say
think
it, hottest woman on the roster, hands down.
It's a competition between her and Chelsea for me.
Chelsea's got the better personality, I think, but that just comes from years of doing it and the I don't care attitude.
I think with the Otis turn, if he turns, and Sheamus possibly joining Alpha Academy, I think that's when the Dungeon Dolls will like actually debut and do something.
I like that. I like that. Okay. Well, now we're getting into some of the bigger headlines from the two shows. I kind of want to save one for the end. Let's talk about the opening of Raw. You open with CM Punk, and you open with him facing off against Gunther. You've got CM Punk chasing the dream, right? He wants to be champion again, and we all know he will be champion again. They said he wasn't going to main event WrestleMania. Guess what? He did it. He's accomplished it. But now you've got him going head to head with Gunther. And as a Gunther fan, I feel like this is another lose-lose situation because you take Gunther, who's supposed to be this force. Whether you like him or not, you got to agree that he was painted to be this big major force in wrestling.
100%.
He's lived up to it, in my opinion. He gives promos that are so. I mean, the two best people at promos right now, not counting John Cena, because he's temporary. Drew McIntyre and Gunther give some of the most educated, high intelligence promos that are totally accurate, and they don't sound like regurgitated catchphrases and stuff like that. But anyways, you got Gunther, who still has not recovered from tapping out to Jey Uso. I mean, I feel like for the rest of his career, we're going to have a Kurt Angle where every time he comes out and his music plays, you suck, you suck. And then now every time Gunther comes out, no matter how dominant he is from this point on, you're going to hear, you tapped out, you tapped out. We got a lot to do to recover Gunther's image, but now you're putting him up against CM Punk. And I feel like if CM Punk loses, it's going to hurt him. But I feel like if Gunther loses, you will never recover the aura of Gunther because he's already bandaged and taped from tapping out to Jey, and the crowd has not forgotten it. So I think this is a big issue. I really want to talk about it. Gunther versus CM Punk. Give me your thoughts on what's going to happen here. And feel free to allude, if Seth's injury is a work, we could potentially save this by Seth cashing in at this match at SummerSlam. But I don't think it's a work. I think he really is injured, and someone's going to have to win. And I think it just spells catastrophe. Give me your thoughts.
I think that I'm not 100% sure that Seth is a work and that's not a work. I'm like 50-50 on it. But my point of view on that is really just because of the fact that they're just nonstop like talking about it, and I think it's really silly how they're saying that they can't get answers for it. 2 weeks now, and there's still not a solitude answer on any of it. I don't know. Part of me believes there's a really good chance it is a work, but part of me also can see it not being one. But that's neither here nor there. On the CM Punk and Gunther topic, I think that Gunther is. I'm not a Gunther fan by any means, but I will give him respect where respect is due on how much of a force he is and the force they've pushed him to be. I'm a big Jey Uso fan, and I was very shocked when they let him tap him out. Very shocked. I did not. You can ask anyone who was in the living room when I watched it. I was not expecting that result at all. I almost disagreed with the result, but at the same time, the you tap out chance ain't gonna hurt him. I don't think it's just showing his aura. I really don't. Because I mean, just like Kurt Angle got chanted "you suck" out all the time, he still was one of the greatest. So I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like it's, even if the you tap out chants continue, I don't see it really hurting him. And the fact that he put Goldberg to sleep, made Goldberg have one of the longest matches he's had since 2003. Like, that Saturday night's main event, as crap shows it went because of Seth's injury, Gunther got shot to the moon because of what happened in that match.
I thought it was a good match.
Did. It was a great match. It's phenomenal. He pushed Goldberg to 14 and a half minutes. Last time Goldberg went for 14 and a half minutes was in 2003 against Kane and Triple H in a triple threat match.
I thought the pacing was good too for Goldberg and Gunther. I thought it was. I mean, overall, when you got what you know about Goldberg, and I love Goldberg, but when you got what you know about him, and you're able to put on a match like that for that long, I thought that was pretty good.
Exactly.
Jimmy, what's your take on the CM Punk Gunther PLE match coming up? Who wins and why?
Well, you know, I'm a Gunther homie, so I want Gunther to win. I want Gunther to win the rest of his life. I want him to die the champion because I'm a fan. But looking at it from WWE's point of view, I don't see how they could give him a clean win without help. An outside shot that might happen is you have the return of Ilya Dragunov to join Imperium, and then Imperium will be a part of helping Gunther win the title, and Punk doesn't look bad because he got cheated on. And
you'll have in Imperium, you'll have Gunther, you'll have Ilya, which we've all been saying for a long time, and you'll have El Grande European.
That's the only reason I think they may not do that is because you gonna have to have an El Grande Americana match.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Adrian's been on my head for a month about this one, but I would not be surprised. Adrian hates it just because of one silly thing, but I don't care. I don't know if you guys do you actually know who sent Ilya home from injury?
I don't remember.
Gunther at a house show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
House shows aren't canon.
Okay, listen, house shows are not scripted. They're not part of all that. I know all that. I'm not saying that they aren't. But they do use them as an opportunity to show out stuff, and they also use them as an opportunity to they do base it off of old stories or connecting kind of stories, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is that, and I know Dad would hate this, I know a lot of people would hate this, but if they go with CM Punk winning, if that's the result, I could see, because I know you got to know that the Brawns are coming out there, because Seth's only goal in life is to make sure Punk never wins a world title. So he's sending his boys out there to stop Punk from winning it. So that happens, and then I think to even the score, you get like a Penta or an LA Knight, since they don't really have a match, but then they don't really have much success. So that the Brawns still continue being over, they stop LA Knight and Penta, or one of them struggles. But anyways, the point is, I think to make it to where the baby faces have the numbers and they win is you get a returning of Ilya, costing Gunther the match, setting up a feud between Gunther and Ilya, which a lot of people are drooling over because of how amazing of a feud they had in NXT UK. People say it's one of the greatest matches they've ever watched. And they had a great feud, and a lot of people predicted, and actually a lot of people had Ilya as the question mark in that King of the Ring thing, because they wanted Ilya to fight Gunther at SummerSlam. Some of the big wrestling content creators were wanting that and saying that. Adrian hates it because they don't use house shows, but if you return Ilya, I don't see anywhere else you can really do besides that.
All right, Adrian. Dominic said something, and I want to know, yes or no, Joe Hendry gets drafted. He feuds with LA Knight.
Yes.
I thought you'd like that. I think that's top of the charisma chain right there, and I think it's you got two guys. People don't like it when you do that, but I think it works when you've got two faces going off against each other and you can't decide who to root for. I think it would be great. We've seen a lot of heels go against heels, and it's worked out well. I think when you have two faces, it works out too. So anyway, to recap, we've got CM Punk going up against Gunther at the PLE. I think there can't be a clear winner, or it hurts somebody.
Okay. I have two predictions for that match. What's if it's a work and if it's not a work. I think if it's a work, then Seth is obviously going to come out and cash in. And I think, but either way, I think there's going to be a debut of a new member at SummerSlam. I just don't know who.
Logan Paul. What's he doing? We thought we were going to get a Cena tag up, but that didn't happen. Logan Paul would add to that faction. Absolutely.
You're talking about Seth faction? 100%. Yeah. But like Dad has said before, the only thing that you can run into with Logan Paul, but at the same time, it's such a heel faction that doesn't really play that much of a factor, is the fact that Logan Paul's not necessarily like full time. He's there more often than most, but he's not there all the time. But that doesn't really play that with their group. That kind of character would work, because then you could just have this one guy who's just this cocky, Logan Paul, only shows up whenever it matters most type deal. And then he takes all the credit.
I don't think Logan Paul would work in that faction, because he's too, like, the way with Cena was, like, he couldn't share the spotlight. And, like coming out with Seth's theme and everything, he couldn't do all that, honestly.
But I think that's the exact reason why he does fit, because really, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are struggling every week to be together and to be the lackey and to be the guy that has to sit there behind. And like, come on, man. It's everyone who thinks that faction lasts longer than Royal Rumble of 2026, maybe WrestleMania 2026, even that's a stretch, is crazy. That faction splits up sooner than anyone thinks. I'm sorry, it just does. I can't even fathom. Like, Braun Breaker is just the push was amazing when it happened, when he speared Roman Reigns after WrestleMania, but now it's kind of like people are really not liking how Braun Breaker has been struggling with this. But that's just because he's not a lackey. He's just not. He will be.
So when we're talking about this, I was watching Raw and I couldn't help but think, okay, there it is. There's the piece that's going to lead to the betrayal. We're going to get into this, and we'll get into this, and then we'll talk about a couple other things that are hot to me. But you got Roman Reigns returning Monday. He came out. He confronted him. Everybody on the podcast should be doing this right now.
Yes, you should. He's your top of Pete. Yeah.
He comes out, he does this, and Paul Heyman, curveball. While I don't like Heyman's hustle, I think that's the stupidest thing. You still have Paul Heyman in the mix of this. Paul Heyman tells this to Roman Reigns. I want to know your thoughts. He says, Roman, we've got a vacant leadership position in the new group. How would you like to take over and lead this group? Okay, so when Rollins does return, Rollins is going to bring that up. What's the deal with you offering Roman my spot? I want to know what you think about that entire. Let's just talk about the promo in general. I think Roman stuffed Heyman, gave it to him where he deserved it, but also I think Roman treated Heyman bad for a long time. But either way, it was a good promo. But that line right there is one that I carried with me for a few hours after the show ended. What do you think about that? What do you think about Heyman doing that?
I think that they could pull the trigger on what you're saying, that Seth brings it up. But the opposite end of the coin that I seen from it after I sat there and thought about it for a couple hours with Adrian counteracting about it. Anyways, I'm seeing it as a perspective of Seth, of like Paul Heyman and Seth working together to play the mind games on Roman and to work on this new character that they're presenting for Roman right now. Hence him giving credit to his family for everything he did. Hence him yeeting off camera and all these new him going around and taking picture with fans. He's becoming a new development of a character, and I think that was WWE's way of showing that. And I think that was a mind game trick that Seth and Paul worked out, like behind the scene type thing, to see what Roman's here for. Is he here to take back glory and to be a leader? Well, here's the option, and showing. But he didn't care about that. He's here for vengeance. He's here to give respect is due and go on a apology trail and family and really actually understand the meaning of family above all. So that's the way I'm seeing it. I think that was a mind game thing, because you also got to think of this: if he was really offering it to him, and it was really a thing, and it was off guard, you would probably there'd be almost no way that Braun Breaker didn't like have a reaction to it. But Braun Breaker had zero reaction to it, zero care.
Okay, I'll take that. Anybody else?
Okay. Dominic, you said that Braun Breaker had zero actions to. You don't remember him putting up the one and Braun Breaker like low key like grabbed his shoulder and like looked at him weird and everything. You don't remember that?
He did not grab his shoulder.
I don't think he grabbed his shoulder at that point. I think they were pretty far behind him. I do remember when Braun kept trying to interrupt Heyman and say, just let me put him out. Heyman would never let him do it.
Yeah, Braun was trying to get his hands on Roman because he was mad at Roman, but it was never like a mad at Heyman thing. He was always on Heyman's side, like the whole promo. He was never, ever like mad at Heyman, not once. That's one thing I remember watching for sure. He wanted to put Roman like through the freaking wall. Because I remember Roman being like, settle down, Junior, settle down. Which is
I do want to
awesome.
say, though, about Braun Breaker that if he continues to talk himself up, he's going to lose his aura, too. I'm the man. I'm the next. I'm blah, blah, blah. Okay.
I'm the big dog.
It sounds childish now.
He sounds retarded.
He really does have big dog energy when he, does anything else but talk about himself. Yeah.
Yes. Because to me, I'm sorry, but like do that on someone else, not Roman. I'm sorry, bro, because like I'm the big dog. I'm the next big thing. What are you? You're worthless. Like, are you? Do you see who you're talking to? Like, no, that's you. They should have pulled that on a way different moment, and a way different time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
The whole time I'm watching him cut that promo on Roman, I'm literally laughing. Like I couldn't like, and Roman's response was priceless. Like, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Like
he did catch the microphone though that was thrown at him. That did happen.
Yeah, he did catch it.
All right, so then later on in the promo, Jay comes out, saves Roman. You get Roman yeeting and acknowledging Jay. Now, Jay has gotten huge responses while Roman's in the ring, but Jay was never present. For the first time, you have Jay, Roman's equal on Raw. What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I know you do. You love Jay more than Jimmy loves Gunther.
I love the bloodline when it comes to all of them. I love all of them just about the same. But I definitely do love Jay getting the respect from Roman, from his cousin like that. And I love that Roman, I made it a point to say like everyone. And so yeah, I love it. I think Roman's gonna disappear after SummerSlam. That's why they're gonna take the L in some shape or form, because I think Roman's gonna disappear because of Street Fighters that he has to go and do. But he'll be back for Survivor Series, War Games, and War Games will most likely be what I can see Roman with a healthy and really family-oriented team versus whatever kind of team that Paul Heyman and the Braun Browns can kind of establish. It's pretty obvious what I think the War Games will be.
Adrian, I want to know your thoughts. We got SummerSlam as a 2-night event this time around. Mm-hmm. And so do we think on night one, Seth Rollins comes out, cashes in on the Gunther CM Punk match, taking that away from Punk? But then because we find out that Seth's back, do you think he then turns around and, of course, helps out his faction on night two when inevitably Roman and Jay are going to go up against him? Do you think that takes place?
No, I think the CM Punk and Gunther match will be. I think the tag team match will come. I think that'll co-main event CM Punk and Gunther.
Okay, cool stuff. Well, I thought the promo was good. I thought Breaker was a little bit of a letdown, but I agree. Seeing Roman yeet off camera at the end of it that should have been on live TV. But all right, we've only got a couple more things left. We've only got a couple things more left. Only got about 5 minutes left before we wrap this up. Jimmy, I want to turn this one over to you because I don't know if you paid more attention to us for a while. But we have dream matches sometimes that we talk about, and I was starting to speculate based on history that one of the greatest build-ups WWE could do at this time was really build up a confrontation between Sheamus and Rusev. You've got a lot of history there. You've got two big powerhouses, and everyone's thinking in the back of their minds, okay, eventually Rusev and Sheamus are going to come together and they're going to fight. Well, right off the bat, you get a Rusev-Sheamus match. It was awful. Rusev won, and you're left thinking, oh my gosh, WWE dropped the freaking ball. It was horrible. So then Monday night, you get a rematch. I thought it was 100 times better than their first match. Sheamus wins. Okay, great. You got the match. It happened. It was better. But I think we lost the opportunity at a dream match. So, Jimmy, I want to ask you, based on the current state of affairs in WWE, one, I'd love everybody's opinion on Sheamus and Rusev and what happens here. But two, before we go into our final segment of the podcast, are there any dream matches right now that can still take place on WWE? And hopefully they don't screw the pooch on it. But who would you love to see happen, as a lot of the superstars from a different day and age are starting to run out of time? Give me your dream match, Jimmy.
You know what I've really been wanting to see, and this is kind of off the cuff, but I'd like to see the big guy from Wyatt Sicks and Bo Dallas go against the Vikings. I think that'd be a great match.
Yeah, okay. I think it would be too. I like what they've done with the War Raiders since they came back. Do you think WWE dropped the ball though, Jimmy, with Sheamus and Rusev?
Yes, they should have let us build up to that and let Rusev destroy a few people, and maybe let Sheamus get a couple of good wins before they made that happen. But I think they're turning into 3 matches now. Obviously, they got to have one more, but hopefully it'll be better than the first 2, especially better than that first one.
In relation to that, I'm so glad to see less of Butch.
Oh my gosh!
I couldn't believe he got so much screen time.
Yeah, that
was awful. Any other comments from either of you on dream matches, and specifically Rusev and Sheamus, and then we'll go on to the last big part of this before we close it for the night. But I want to hear from Adrian first, and then we'll go to Dominic.
I think if the Otis turn happens at SummerSlam, if they do a round 3, the tiebreaker, if the Otis turn happens and he goes out there and beats them both up, then that could revive the story. But other than that, I don't really have a dream match. Maybe like Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker.
Oh, we never got that, did we?
No.
Oh. We have been getting hinted at it ever since them both were on the main roster, but it's not happened yet. It will. It's inevitable. It's the main event of WrestleMania.
Let's let that one simmer for a little while, WWE. We want it, but make it right.
Dominic,
what about you? What's your opinion and what's your dream match?
Hear me out. My dream match, I was actually talking to Adrian about this, and they actually caught him off guard. But my dream match is actually, honestly, a rematch, but the characters are different. I want, if this Cody turn is happening, and it's really happening at SummerSlam, which I do believe 100% it is, the double turn, and I believe it will happen. Cody goes outrageous, dastardly heel, and is as big as he is. He sells out or souls out, whatever you want to call it. I want to see a rematch of this new babyface OTC versus this dastardly heel sold out Cody.
Everybody's saying the Cody Rhodes heel turn's coming. They say he's bought into it, and they're going to bring it full circle with The Rock and all that stuff. We're about to talk more about Cody. I like that. I like it a lot. I think when it comes to dream matches, here's what I would love to see. We are all talking about backstage heat between Triple H and The Rock. And Triple H can no longer go in the ring anymore medically.
Yeah.
And Triple H can no longer go in the ring anymore. And Triple H can no longer go in the ring anymore medically. And Triple H can no longer go in the ring anymore medically. And Triple H can no longer go in the ring anymore medically. The Rock
Yes.
wants to. He keeps saying he's going to. He's going to do all this stuff for WrestleMania. And the match that we have never, ever, ever gotten, we've never even gotten them in the same ring, is Shawn Michaels and The Rock. So if they brought real life into canon, just hear me out for a second. Real life into canon, you get Triple H and The Rock bringing their issues forward, and they're going back and forth segment to segment, which I thought was really cool when Triple H called him out and said, by the way, I'm the chief of creative. Okay.
Yes.
I don't care who you are on the board. I thought that was brilliant.
Yes.
And so
General
Triple H can't fight The Rock. Rock comes out, confronts him. He can't fight him. And all of a sudden, Sexy Boy starts playing. And Sean's like, hey, look, Triple H may not be able to, but I got it. And they don't even have to have a full match. But if they could have a segment in ring where Shawn Michaels gets the one up on The Rock, and, you know, that gives Rock time to actually step away and do what he's doing backstage. If I could ever get that, I would be extremely happy. Really, I just think it's a cool setup.
No, I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. All right, so here we go. Highlight of the show, and then we're going to sign off. We had an interesting segment I thought dropped the ball. Matter of fact, in my notes, I had that we were going to talk about the Law and Order Tribal Edition with Jacob Fatu last Friday, but we'll skip that completely. It doesn't deserve really a lot of mention. We had a contract signing on SmackDown.
Yes.
Talk of the wrestling world is John Cena. Everywhere you go, he's brought people back into it. We had a contract signing. I thought it was awful. I thought the whole segment was absolutely terrible. But we have a PLE upcoming where for the first time since John's been back, people are questioning whether or not John's going to win or whether he's going to lose. I think he's going to win. I don't see Cody returning. I think when John Cena's been talking about himself as the only true champion, I think that's a segue to OTC, and Roman Reigns is going to take it from him, and he's going to be the only true champion. OTC, I think it plays there. I think really we're about to get Roman back against a heel Cody, and that's really where the storyline's going. But we had a contract signing. It was awful. I think it really failed to connect. There really wasn't a lot of heat there. I think, Cody's going to turn. John will eventually lose to Roman. But that's just my take on it. So with our final thoughts for the night, I want to hear everybody weigh in on Cena versus Cody at SummerSlam. Who's going to win? And if it's not Cena, who eventually takes the spot from Cena at the end of the Cena farewell tour? Dominic, we'll start with you. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, if it's not Cody, the only person I can really actually truthfully see it being done on is, like you're saying, someone of the Roman Reigns type, or like maybe Seth, but I don't know about that. It's injured. So I'm on your side with the Roman thing. I could see that.
I'm surprised you're not saying Jey Uso.
To be honest with you, I am a big Jey Uso fan, but I'm also realistic. I'll put it this way. I don't see them doing it, but I also am not going to take it completely off the table. With the way his Royal Rumble win went over and the way his World Heavyweight title win went over, it was such a really half and half deal. I think everyone just prefers Jey to just be this titleless babyface, but that's kind of neither here nor there, because that's mainly IWC who doesn't like him. The in crowd, at the end of the day, whether you like him or not, absolutely adores Jey no matter what he does. And that's kind of what matters to TKO and Triple H at the end of the day, is what their opinion is. So it's not off the table. But I'm on your side with the Roman Reigns, though.
So your prediction is Cody loses, Cena wins, and eventually Roman Reigns is the one that takes the championship.
I could see it, yeah.
All right. Adrian, let's go with you.
Oh, okay. I think Cody will sell out at Mania at SummerSlam. And John Cena will lose. And then I think eventually, with AJ Styles having the IC, John Cena will go after the IC to become a Grand Slam with AJ and bringing back the AJ feud. And because he did say that he wants to end babyface, so that if so that to win the IC, become a Grand Slam, and then lose it to somebody else.
And we're running out of time with the John Cena farewell tour. Like, who his opponents are going to be week to week. I think he's only got 5 more appearances total. He
only has like 11 actually, and he's full time the whole month of August, and then he has like maybe 2 appearances in September, and then it's 1 a month after that. And so honestly, that's why I was also going to say with my prediction and my thing, I was going to counter it with exactly what Adrian said, that he doesn't really have too many appearances left. You give it to Cody, and then you can just give Cena this babyface last few months run where he gets the Grand Slam title. So now he's really, really ultra mega greatest, one of the greatest of all time. And then you give the opportunity for him to take the IC, and then maybe you also get the opportunity for Sheamus to finally take it off of him. Another nostalgic feud. And then Sheamus takes off him, and then you get Sheamus the opportunity to feud with someone like a Rusev or Otis, or get into those guys. But that's later here or there.
Later.
That answer went way over there. I was like, okay, I'm focused on Cena right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It's a lot of good speculation. We'll have plenty of time for that speculation. But Jimmy, we got SummerSlam coming up. Dominic will be there. He'll get to see whatever happens. I think there's going to be a pretty good swerve. You got Cena, Rhodes. Who wins? If it's not Rhodes, who dethrones Cena before it's over? Let me hear it.
I think Cody Rhodes wins, and maybe Shawn cashes in on him.
Shawn cashes in. Shawn Michaels?
I didn't mean to say Shawn. I meant to say Seth.
Seth cashes in on Cody.
This is the old man of the group, guys.
That would be quite the swerve, actually, if Seth was like, you know what? Forget about it. I'm taking the big title.
He already had that title, so
it would make sense for him to sell out.
It would. It totally would. It totally would make sense for Seth to be the guy that sells out and all this time.
And the
everyone
fact
thought it was Cody
never gave Seth a match after WrestleMania 40.
And that's another thing too. That's always bothered me, is Seth gave it all for Cody to make his dream come true and finish his story, and then he just cast him aside. He's never really talked to him. Never gave him a title shot. The way he treated Seth sucks.
If we do that, though, we also have the draft coming up. That means they would have to draft Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to SmackDown because that title will stay on SmackDown. Just like with Naomi, when she took it, she had to switch over.
They keep the titles the same. They don't switch them.
My question to that: do you think Netflix is going to give up that talent for Friday nights?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not.
It's a good story. I like that prediction the best, but I wonder how it's going to factor into booking. You know.
Well, it's not that Netflix doesn't have SmackDown. It's just that Netflix doesn't have SmackDown in the U.S. SmackDown is still showed on Netflix in other countries. So I mean, it's not a matter of Netflix giving it up. I think it'd be a matter of WWE wants to put that much effort into a USA brought thing that they're trying to get rid of. That's the real question, I think.
You see the lines blurring already between the shows. People compete on whichever show they want. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it a thing where if you're the undisputed champion, you're on both shows.
They could. It'd be nice. It'd be sweet.
You could also create another title that's only on SmackDown, and like the world title.
Yeah, I think they should be I've always been of the opinion they should unify the titles, and the champions, when they're on screen, it should be a big deal. I don't think the champions should be on week-to-week programming. There was a time when Hulk Hogan was the champion in WWF, and he only showed up when it was important. It wasn't just pay-per-views, but he only showed up when it was important. He wasn't like the draw every week, and what that allowed you to really do is focus on up-and-coming talent who deserved it. And when they showed up, it was a bigger impact. I do think that that could be.
I do remember it being. It was definitely structured like that for a little while. I remember that being the case. I remember a lot of world champions and WWE champions just kind of like not necessarily never being there, but just only being there when it matters, like Road to Mania, Road to SummerSlam, and then that's kind of just it,
And then you don't have wasted time where the champion's on the show just so the champion's on the show. You know what I mean? Like, you have to work at it to get face to face with the champion, but that's a whole different take. But okay, Jimmy. So you think that Seth is going to cash in on night 2 of SummerSlam? Is that where we're going with this?
I'd like to see it. And Ric
I'm all
Flair
about
was the same. Ric Flair was the same way. He hardly ever showed up on NWA, you know. And if he did, he just fought a jobber. You know, the title matches were reserved for the big events and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this though. I want to go a little deeper. If it's not Seth, who let's say Cena retains till his last night. Who takes the belt off John?
I'm Braun Breaker.
Hmm. You know, I was really hoping that Drew McIntyre would be the one to do it because he had for so long he was talking about I'm here to save wrestling, and John Cena's like I'm gonna ruin wrestling. I thought it would just make so much sense and it would finally give Drew what he deserves. Of course, it'd be funny if Drew took it off of him and then Seth cashed in on Drew.
Yes.
I'd be down for all that.
Adrian hates every time I say it, but my favorite part about Drew is how much little success he gets. Because he just feeds off of it. You gotta quit. I'm all about him losing every time he does anything good. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
Mick Foley's career was carried off of losing. Okay, like
that's true. What you got, Adrian? Then we'll wrap it up.
With the trying to end wrestling career gimmick John Cena has would also work with Seth trying to build the future. He can't build the future without the title, the main title. So it would also make sense for him to cash in on that match for that reason.
The only reason I disagree with you is because Seth put so much of his blood, sweat, and tears in the heavyweight championship on Raw. He made it relevant. He talks about that. He stands by how that was his aim was to make that a bigger title than the one on SmackDown. So I don't see him forsaking that unless he's going to try to unify them. And I think that may happen. I think that needs to happen with the introduction of the more belts and stuff. But okay. Well, any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap up our first episode here? It's been a great time. We're approaching that hour and 30-minute mark now, though. So we got about 30 seconds if anybody wants to give any closing thoughts.
Stretch night 2, 42 of WrestleMania. I don't know why I said it like that. WrestleMania 42, night 2 main event. Seth versus Roman versus Cody. That's how I'm going to end the podcast. Give everyone a chance to theorize and think about that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I love you, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Brock
We love you,
Lesnar will
Hulk
return at SummerSlam.
Huh?
He said Brock Lesnar will return at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
He
Adrian's
could, man.
going too. He's going to SummerSlam too.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your hour and a half with the 4 Faces of the Rhodes family. This is our first episode of the Hard Camera. We hope that you enjoyed our time together. We'd love to hear your opinions, of course, in the comments on all social media platforms. We will be trying to post weekly with our opinions, recaps of the episodes, and, of course, where we think WWE should go creatively. And on that note, we don't care if you disagree or agree. We're just giving you our opinion, and we hope you like it. If not, you're forced to listen to it either way. This has been the Hard Camera. You can follow us on social media, YouTube and Facebook for now, and we hope to bring you more content as the weeks progress. Signing off, I am the host, Jordan, Dominic, Adrian, my 2 brothers, and the patriarch of the family, Jimmy. Again, we hope you've enjoyed your time with us. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.